Nothing screams more like total transparency than an official entity accepting cash in lieu of a punishment. Hmm. Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, pop pickers, good morning, Arsenalverse, good morning, Gooners, good morning, everyone across the world and the land that is Arsenal. Thank you for joining us. It is the Big Breakfast Show. It's 7 a.m. I am Edwin Ash, your host, and we have got some bits and pieces to get through this morning. I hope you're doing well. Little bit of admin. If you're here, if you're watching, please do like and subscribe. You know the reasons why. It helps grow the show. It helps us reach more Gooners. It just helps everything in general. Make everything kind of a nice, good time. If you were watching yesterday and you happened to see that I was jabbering on as usual without any sounds, because we had some mic difficulties, so I just wanted to apologize for that. We did fix it within about 3 minutes. I have no idea what happened. Let's just put it down to gremlins, stinky old gremlins getting in the system. It was tres annoying. But anyway, we're here, we're live, we're noisy. We should be coming through loud and clear. And on today's show, well, is everything coming up Arsenal? We've got the FA draw reaction. We've got some news on City escaping yet another charge. We're going to have a look at the Leverkusen game again. Going to rehash a little bit of yesterday's stuff. And the Babs predicted 11 plus your big Arse opinions. And I'm going to entreat you for today. Get in touch where you can on the socials at Big Arse Breakfast, at Big Arse Breakfast on Insta and TikTok, at Big Arse Brecky on X, and at bigarsbreakfast.bsky.social. Get in touch. What we're looking for is your team talks for tomorrow. If you're anything like me, growing up, or every day, or every minute of every day, when I'm thinking about Arsenal, and you think, what would I say to the team ahead of this game? I'd love to be in that dressing room. Just say, look, boys, yeah, today's a big one, yeah. Put it all in. Look to the man to the left. Look to the man to the right. Whatever it is, really inspirational, like any given Sunday style speeches, or abstract, or kind of like a bribery motivation. Like, if you don't win today, you're never going to see Win the Dog ever again. Now that sounds. That's really threatening. I didn't mean it in that way. No, I just mean like you're not going to get to pet her. You're not going to get to say hello, right? Which I think is pretty good motivation, right? Nonetheless, a lot to get through and get in touch, please. You can also email us at show@bigarsenalbreakfast.com, show@bigarsenalbreakfast.com. If you like the old school email way, then do it. Get in touch. Right, let's get on with it. Today's general news, starting with no other place than LOL. The FA Cup draw, lol, 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 lol. Oh my days. Is everything coming up Arsenal? Well, you'd start to think so a little bit. Now, take nothing for granted here, but let's have a little look at the slide on the screen now. I'm just going to read out these fixtures that were drawn yesterday. So we have got Southampton away. Oh no, an away game. Oh, that's a fix. I can't believe we have to play away. Yeah, we got Saints. Chelsea have got Port Vale. They obviously drew the lucky one. Man City, Liverpool. Oh, we're going to come to that in a second. And West Ham eventually defeating Brentford on penalties in last night's final round game. These fixtures are going to be played across the weekend of the 4th and 5th of April. Now, with the Southampton game, I would say generally, take nothing for granted. Why am I saying that? Yes, okay, the championship team. Yes, we should be beating them, but we have seen multiple times, as I discussed on the show yesterday, multiple times where a heavily rotated team doesn't always click that well. Yes, on paper you've got the talent, but have you got the connections? Have you got the relationship between young players, players that are normally sort of not first team regulars? Can we conjure up a fluid, good, sweet ass team that's just going to go out there and steamroll Southampton? I would say almost certainly not. It just doesn't seem to work that way. Look, we all would be expecting to beat Southampton. Of course we would. But I never think these games are as straightforward as they seem when you're rotating. And we are going to be into some potentially heavy rotation for that game, which we'll come to in a minute. Because quite frankly, the fixture pileup is real. We are at the chocolate starfish end of the season. Why did I just quote a Limp Bizkit record? I am really disappointed in myself for that. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. We are at the business end of the season. So yeah, I wouldn't take that game for granted, but compared to everything else, we have dodged some big ones, and we cannot be more thankful for that. When you have a look at what City are going to have to go through in that run up, I think if they beat Real in the Champions League coming up, which I have to say, I think they will, I think they're going to stuff them, really. If you have a look at Real's injury list, it is huge, absolutely huge. Real got so many players out, and I really do think that City, they've got potential to wrap that up in the first leg, if I'm honest. But they have got Real, and then they've got Liverpool, then they've got Bayern at home, then Chelsea away, then Bayern away, and then they come to us. In contrast, we have got Saints. We've got, if we make it that far, the next, oh, sorry, I should have said, assuming that City get through their Champions League game with Real, then they would face Bayern. You would assume they would face Bayern. I should make that clear. If they get through their Real tie, then they'll face Bayern, you would think, which I think is almost a 99% probability. We, in contrast, would have Saints, then whatever the Champions League game would be, whoever we draw, then Bournemouth at home, then Champions League again, then City. I mean, the contrast in those games is quite stark. So you'd like to think there's a marginal gain there, a marginal gain to be had. So, yeah. I think basically, to summarize, we did well out of that. I mean, I think the bribery paid off, didn't it? I think, from what everyone's saying online, our bribe was really, really good. We must have put in a good offer to the FA. It wasn't as good as Chelsea's. I mean, our bribe couldn't have been as strong as Chelsea's bribe. They obviously sent in an even bigger indecent proposal. So something we can learn from. But well done, Arsenal, for bribing the FA. And speaking of bribery, let's have a little chat about some news yesterday from, oh, that's an old slide. Get rid of that one. Yeah, a little bit of news from Manchester City and Rodri escaping a ban after raging at officials after Dominic Solanke's goal for Tottenham. I don't know where to start with this. I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to the tinfoil hattery that goes around in the football verse. I don't think anyone's corrupt necessarily, but I will say is that this one looks kind of favourable compared to similar instances in the past. So what Rodri said was at the time, he said, "I know we won too much, and the people don't want us to win, but the referee has to be neutral. It's not today. It's 2 or 3 games in a row, and I don't know why. Honestly, for me, it's not fair. The referee has to be neutral." So why is this weird? Why is this weird? Well, I remember back in the day, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty certain Alex Ferguson got a 5-match ban. 5-match ban for saying something really similar, that the refs weren't being fair to them. 5 matches. Okay, that was about 15 years ago. But it was Fergie. I mean, if anyone was going to escape that kind of ban, you'd think it would be the king of, referees. I think Reece James got one for calling a ref fucking horrid, plus £100,000 fine. Klopp got a 2-match ban once, even though one of them, I think, was rescinded, for saying Paul Tierney was against them. Van Dijk recently got a 1-match game ban for calling refs' performance a fucking joke and a £100,000 fine. But Rodri got no game ban and forced to pay £80,000. What is that about? What is that about? I mean, nothing screams total transparency more than an official entity accepting cash to escape a punishment. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. just going to have a little look. I actually covered this on yesterday's show, so forgive me for rehashing old material. But Leverkusen, let's have a little look at Leverkusen just to re-look at what happened for them at the weekend. They played Freiburg. They played out a 6-goal thriller, conceded 3, scored 3. They're currently sitting 6th in the Bundesliga. Freiburg are actually 2 places below them, but Leverkusen are 22 points off the top from Bayern. 22 points. They're in danger of not qualifying for the Champions League next season. That's actually 11 points behind Dortmund, who are in second. Spoke about how warped that league is in the week. They're missing a lot of players. They're missing, especially in defense, Arta. They're missing Vasquez, Flecken, goalkeeper, Benzakia, Loic Bader, Patrick Schick, their top goal scorer with, I think, 13 goals. No, look at my notes. Yeah, 13 goals in all competitions. It's a late fitness test today, I think. He's got 4 goals in the Champions League, so it's possible he might not be playing. And if he is playing, he might not be up to scratch. And also Nathan Teller. I don't know all of these players. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a hipster who knows the Bundesliga inside out. I do follow it a bit, but not that much. He's facing a late fitness test. And of course, they're not exactly the team that they were when they won the championship. How many of those players have been stripped out of Leverkusen? So, yeah, you would think that this is something we could manage. Obviously, for Arsenal, we're waiting on Ødegaard, Saliba, Trossard, and Calafiori. The presser is today. So we'll know a bit more. I'll cover it on tomorrow morning show. We'll have a deeper dive into the Leverkusen game. But that's kind of where we're at for today. Also covered this yesterday as the big Arsenal breakfast show predicted 11. It's going to rattle through this, really. I would expect something like the following. Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Nkapie, Zubimendi, Rice, Saka, Eze, Martinelli, if Trossard's not back, and Gyökeres. There have been some people asking, what about Dalman? I can't see that Dalman is in the Champions League squad. I've had a look. It doesn't say it on the Champions League website. There's loads of academy players listed. Dalman's not there. So forgive me for not having the absolute 100% factually accurate news, but I can't see it. So I don't think he's there. I don't think he's eligible. It would be cool. Wouldn't that be cool if he played against Leverkusen in that kind of atmosphere with a young, confident, ball-controlling, player-taking on, pants-down pulling kind of awesome 16-year-old that he is. That would be great, but I don't think he's eligible. I don't think he's in the squad. And that brings us to your big Arse opinions. And as ever, we entreat you to get involved any which way you can. At Big Arse Breakfast on TikTok, at Big Arse Breakfast on Insta, at Big Arse Brecky on X, and at bigarsebreakfast.bsky.social. Always want you to get involved. Would love to hear from you. I have to say, thank you to a lot of you that have been subscribing. It's really, really appreciated. It's really, really appreciated. Wholeheartedly appreciated. We really do. Have I said appreciated yet? We appreciate that. And for those of you that have gotten in touch on the socials, fantastic. Brilliant. If you're following, that's great. Again, helps the channel. Very, very, very grateful. But we do want to hear from you. We do want your opinion. I'm starting again. We do want your opinions. So tell us what's on your mind. If you're in the chat, get in touch. Just had a little look over. Oh, hello. Good morning. Who's this? Hassan Ranan 686. Have I got that right, Hassan? Hassan Ranan. If I've got that wrong, forgive me. He says, good morning, chaps. Good morning, Hassan. Thank you for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Let us know what's on your mind this morning. If you can be bothered to type out another one, let us know what's on your mind this morning in your Gooner world. We'll have a little chat about it. So get in contact. But now it's time for...
Apart from the two penalties you gave away, I've got the stuff will never leave the secure schooner for life days. Way too dry.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The sound of that absolutely monumental bum burp is the signifier for Big Arse Opinions. And I've been looking around the Gooniverse as ever last night, having a little nose, a little peek at what people are saying, what you've been saying, what others have been saying about the Arsenal. And there's some good stuff, actually. I thought there's some pretty interesting things that came out of last night's discourse around the socials, starting with a couple of lols. Let's have a couple of lols. First one comes from Chief at Ali Adier. Chief at Ali Adier. Great draw for City and Liverpool. They can remind us of their great rivalry over the last 7 years in which City won 6 titles. Never a bad thing when you draw your own father in the cup. Ooh, shots fired, Chief. Shots fired. Yeah, there is a bit. I try not to get too involved. Whisper it quietly. I try not to get too involved in this whole City pool loving. Ooh. Oh, City. Oh, pool. Oh, we're such good fans. Oh, yeah. It's weird. I find it a bit weird, especially as Liverpool are kind of not the supposed allegedly financial doping cheats. So I try not to get involved in that, but I have to say it is a bit strange. At Transfer Checker said, reported on Matt Law's piece. There's a kind of quote tweet, an aggregator had quoted Matt Law saying Christian Romero is set to leave Tottenham in the summer. I thought he'd already left. Moving on to slide number 2. FK. I don't know FK's surname. Forgive me, FK. I don't know how to pronounce your surname. I'm so sorry. But FK, famed of Latte Firm, of course, doing stellar work over at Latte Firm. Love that show. He said Leverkusen versus Arsenal is a 5:45 p.m. on 5:45 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday. It's an absolute shambles to have such an early kickoff. Now, I haven't looked into this yet as to why they do this, but I agree. Why? Why is it 5:45? People have got to get back from work, man. I'm going to be hauling ass to get myself back into the Bab studio. It just beggars belief. It really boils my urine. I don't know why that is. I think that's a really great point. Osman the Gooner. At Osman Z the Gooner, he says next 2 months is so massive for us. Mikel and his boys could go down into history. I'm sure they know we have such a huge opportunity, and we pray for some luck along the way. And I think we did get a bit of that last night. And I know there's been a lot of talk. Talk of the quadruple. Oh, that makes me nervous just saying it. It makes me nervous just saying it. But let's be honest, right? We can all dream, yeah? We are all dreaming. Are we not? Can you imagine? Could you imagine that? And then Tottenham going down? Oh, my God. I think I'd probably quit football. I generally would. Where could you go from there? I think I'd have to quit. I'd wrap it up. Go home, football. You've been completed. Okay, slide number 3, please, Eddie. This one came from a rival fan, and I thought it was quite astute. I have to say, this is Aurora at McFlyboy, who is a Chelsea fan, and he quite honestly, it was a good admission. It's like he stood up in the circle and said, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Aurora, and I'm an Arsenal hater addict." But he did say, he came clean. He said, "Look, we all don't want Arsenal to win the EPL and UCL because we don't want a team we have bantered for over 20 years to suddenly now gain freedom from it. There's nothing wrong with the way they play football. There's nothing wrong with their fan base. We just can't deal with the fact they're no longer laughing stock and our own teams are a joke now. All those banters end the moment they win. That's our fear." Yeah, and he's right. And fair play to you, mate. Fair play for you for admitting that. I mean, we have had our banter years were absolutely extraordinary. I mean, we lost the League Cup to Birmingham due to a calamitous own goal when we were on that. I think at that point it was like an 8-7 season without them won a trophy in 8 years. They didn't win a trophy. Do you remember that? Do you remember how that hung over Wenger's team for so long? We'd lost that in the last minute to an absolute clown show of a goal from Obafemi Martins, if memory serves. We got those Bayern batterings every time we played them. Absolutely caned us. The 6-0 to Chelsea in Arsene Wenger's 1000th game. The 8-2 at Man United. The endless batterings from City. We went through all of that. We were bantered off. Something crying. And we've had to endure so much during the social media years. We have been on the butt end of every single joke. And I think what Aurora's noted here is that, of course, if we do finally, please get this one over the line, then yeah, I'd imagine some people are going to start coming back and, I told you. I mean, I won't. I will be obviously very gracious to say, look, it's not the winning, it's the taking part. But yeah, we are itching to get out of that. What I will say is you got, whatever people think about Arteta, and I know there's still some Arteta detractors out there. That's not my bag. What I will say about him is, touch wood, since we've sort of leapt over that initial building period, whatever phase of the progress that you call it, or whatever phase of the process you call it, it's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, when we've gone over that little hump, touch wood all over the place, we haven't been battered in ages. And I touching wood all over the place again. I can't see that happening under Arteta. He drills those teams so well. I'd imagine if we do get a bit of a hiding, it will probably have to be something like 8 goals scored off of 0.1 XG random stuff. You know what I mean? I just look back at those banter era years and go, thank God that's not us anymore. I mean, that is something to be very, very thankful for. Slide number 4, please, Eddie. Wayne Rooney has had his say on Arsenal. He said, if you watch Arsenal closely now, you realise they're no longer trying to impress people with pretty football. They are playing with one objective, to score goals. They look for quick transitions, counter-attacks, corner kicks and through balls that can reach the opponent's goalkeeper as fast as possible. It's not that they don't like playing attractive football, true, Wayne, but they tried before and it didn't take them to where they wanted to go. That tiki-taka style saw them finish second 3 times in a row. Now they look more direct, more focused, and more ruthless. Now, I think that some of that is slightly misunderstood, I think, Wayne, respectfully. I don't think we ever tried to play tiki-taka. I think we used to in that, 22-23 season when we first finished second. I think we were trying to play very quick transition football. We were quite open and we got a lot of injuries and we overachieved in that season, from my opinion. Since then, I think Arteta has been doing the control, but the fine margins haven't been there. And again, we didn't quite have the squad to do it. Right at the business end of the season, we lost Saliba. We were playing Kivior sometimes as left back, all that sort of stuff. And I think that contributed. But at the very least, he's kind of admitting. He said it's, before they were trying to play attractive football. I still think we are trying to play attractive football, but I think everyone's gassed. And we have to say that attack is not clicking. And I'm going to rehash the Gyökeres argument, but there's a lot hanging on Havertz at the moment. And why me? So yeah, I would say that I'm kind of in agreement with Wayne. We are trying to play attractive football, but it's just we are gassed and we're not getting up the pitch and we're not playing in the opponent's half. In these last few games, at least, because look, don't forget, if you have a look at when we have played attractive football this year, we smashed Aston Villa at home, who were on top form at the time. We smashed Bayern Munich at home, playing incredible football. Obviously, the 2-4-1s against Spurs, but they are Spurs. Numerous other games I can think of where we played some pretty shit hot football. But just since the Brentford, Wolves, Brighton game, it's just been 3 games a week, and they are crocked. They are knackered. I wouldn't be surprised if when the sunshine comes out, you'll start to see it again. I see a lot of people talking about Eze. Eze is the sunshine boy, and I believe it. I'm all in. I think when the sun comes out, we might see a slightly more free-flowing football. Don't ask me why, it's just a theory. Right, on to today's Instant Karma Take of the Day.
Instant Karma Take of the Day.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for today's Instant Karma Take of the Day. The take of the day that either brings down the angry heat or levels up or levels off the overexcitement that sometimes exists in the Arsenal world. Now, we've been getting a lot of hate this week. I think we all know that. But I think we've got an unlikely hero in the shape of Alan Shearer, who had this to say on The Rest is Football.
First team in the Premier League to reach 100 goals in all competitions. So
yeah, baby.
Maybe some of that criticism's a little bit undeserved. I think we've defended them pretty much for most of the time.
Have you really?
I'm not having the criticism. I don't get it. And I said before, they finished top of the Champions League group.
Exactly.
Damn right.
They were brilliant.
They're in the final. They're in the quarter-final of
That's
the
right.
FA Cup.
That's right.
They're 7 points clear in the Premier League.
Count them, baby.
Yeah, people are finding a way to criticise them.
Yes,
Do
they
me
are.
a favour.
Yeah.
From any standard, whoever you're looking at, in every position,
Mm-hmm.
wherever they are in cup competition or
Preach.
league or whatever, They're absolutely flying.
Yes, they are.
And forget about any other comment or any other negative comment. Forget that. They're flying, and they couldn't do any better at this moment in time.
And some of it obviously comes from their own fans. You see these things like Arsenal TV and all that, where these ultras.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about them.
It's clickbait nonsense,
no offense to
and
them,
they get people ranting for no good reason. But I do find it absurd. I mean, you can, we've done it ourselves. We forensically look at some performances and we evaluate where their strengths are and their weaknesses, and you can point things out in certain games. But that record this season it's extraordinary.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, of course, it could, oh boy, it could all come to nothing, of course. It could come to nothing, and we could be sat at the end of the season going, oh my God, how has that happened again? Now, also, I would say, no disrespect to AFTV. I think they've obviously changed quite a lot over the years. They've tidied up their act quite a lot. They're a well-oiled outfit, so no disrespect to them. But the point being is, Alan Shearer, yeah, you are invited to the parade, my friend, and it's good to see. And I said this on the other day's show. I do think that tide is starting to turn. People, including rival fans, are starting to get annoyed with the Arsenal bashing. I had someone in my comments yesterday, a rival fan, because I don't know if you saw, I put out a video about the criticism that Arsenal had been receiving. I put it out on TikTok. Go and have a look if you can be bothered. It was one of the longer ones. And it got a bit of traction, and it got some discussion. And it was about the idea that Arsenal were ruining football. And a guy came into my comments and he said, yeah, we just got to accept you're boring. Now, I would say the last 10 games, the last 5-6 games, whatever, we have been boring because we've been struggling to get that attack going. I think that's true. But that wasn't the question. The question is whether Arsenal were ruining the Premier League. I don't think so. Obviously, I don't think so. And I think that hyperbole is a little bit, well, it's a lot. It's hyperbole. It's fucking huge. So, cap doffed to Alan Shearer out there doing good work alongside Martin Keown by the looks of it. But yeah, the hatred is weird, I think. But ladies and gents, that's it for today. That is it. It's Tuesday. We're slowly eking towards the weekend. We're slowly eking towards the Leverkusen game. We want your team talks for tomorrow. Don't forget to get your team talks in. You can email show@bigarsenalbreakfast.com. TikToks are here. You can get in the comments on YouTube, obviously. Get in the comments. You can stick it in the chat if you want. And we'll read them out tomorrow. Your team talks. What would you say to the Arsenal team in that dressing room? Get involved. Like and subscribe if you can be asked. And honestly, if you're sick of my mug face and you don't want to watch it, then you can listen in the podcast. But either way, get involved. Have a brilliant Tuesday. Whatever you're doing, get your arse in gear. Bye.